Welcome to this explainer on the connection codex. If you've ever felt, underconnected or just kind of frustrated by how incredibly hard it is to just walk up to a stranger and say hi, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're unpacking a methodical, science-based guide designed specifically for anyone who wants to build real social confidence. And the best part is, you don't have to fake a completely different personality to do it.
Okay, let's dive right into this with a massive paradigm shift. The foundational premise of this whole operating system is right here. Social skill is a motor skill, not a knowledge subject. You simply can't learn how to hold a captivating conversation just by reading a book about it. It's like learning to swim by reading a textbook. It doesn't work. Your mouth literally needs the physical reps. You improve by repeating the action under mild discomfort and getting immediate feedback.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, you are not broken. Then, the biology of social fear, the daily practice engine, the fear ladder, and finally, mastering the opening. Let's jump in.
All right, Section 1. You are not broken. We are reframing reserve as a total asset.
It's absolutely crucial that we untangle two things that are constantly and incorrectly mashed together: introversion and shyness. Think of introversion as your fuel type. It just means you recharge alone and you actually like low-stimulation environments. Shyness, on the other hand, is the brakes. It's that fear and apprehension you feel about being socially evaluated. Being an introvert is just a trait, but being shy, that's a fear. Because reserve and humility are actually incredible assets in a conversation. You never have to pretend to be an extrovert to succeed socially. You don't need to change your fuel type. The ultimate goal of this operating system is really just to fix the brakes. We want to remove the fear so you can become a highly capable, unafraid version of who you already are. Moving on to Section 2, the biology of social fear. Let's look at exactly why your brain hits the panic button. If approaching strangers genuinely terrifies you, you need to understand that this is a biological reality, not some character flaw. Check this out. Neuroscience research from Naomi Eisenberger's team at UCLA found that your brain processes social rejection using the exact same neural circuitry that it uses for literal physical pain. Actually, they even found that taking a common pain reliever could reduce the sting of social rejection. It's wild, but historically, being excluded from the group literally meant death. So your brain is treating a casual hello like a life-or-death survival scenario. So here's the mechanical breakdown of what's happening in your body. Your amygdala, that's your brain's threat detector, flags the social approach as a danger. Boom, it immediately triggers your sympathetic nervous system. Your heart rate spikes, your breathing gets shallow, and here's the kicker. Blood is actually diverted away from your prefrontal cortex, which is your thinking and word-finding brain, and sent straight to your large muscles to prepare for a fight or sprint. That right there is the exact biological reason your mind suddenly goes completely blank when you try to speak. The crucial takeaway here is this. You are not bad at talking to people. You are experiencing a stress response. Your ancient internal alarm system is just ringing because it frankly can't tell the difference between a hostile tribe and a friendly barista. And you can't just turn this alarm off with willpower. Your job is to systematically act while the alarm rings to prove to your nervous system that you are in fact completely safe.
All right, Section 3, the daily practice engine. Let's break down this 2-hour daily structure.
This daily engine is deliberately split into 4 blocks to mirror how your brain actually learns a new skill. You start with 30 minutes of active study, then 20 minutes to rehearse, literally saying conversational scripts out loud to a mirror. But the undisputed core of this whole engine is the 3rd block, the 50-minute perform block. This is the non-negotiable window where you must go out and interact with a live human being. Finally, you spend 20 minutes in the encode block, basically documenting what happened.
And listen to this. The absolute most important rule of this entire operating system is this. If you only had 10 minutes a day instead of 2 hours, you'd spend all 10 of those minutes on the perform block. Never, ever let a safe study day substitute for a contact day. Reading is just the scaffolding. The live reps are the actual building. Every single time you avoid a social risk, you're telling your brain it was right to be terrified, which just feeds and strengthens your anxiety. Now, after you do that live rep, you have to lock in the learning during the encode phase. You do this by filling out a daily debrief template. The goal here is to put on your scientist hat. You log what you predicted your anxiety would be and what it actually was in reality. When you act like an experimenter, a rejection stops feeling like a painful verdict on your self-worth. It just becomes a null data point to log and adjust for tomorrow. It literally turns raw awkwardness into real transferable skill.
Which brings us to section 4, the fear ladder. This is the science of graded exposure. Look, you aren't going to fix a lifetime of social caution by cold approaching a massive group of strangers on day 3. That's just going to cause a massive spike of terror. Instead, we use a concept called graded exposure. It is clinical psychology's absolute most robust tool for reducing anxiety. You feed your brain small, survivable doses of discomfort, allowing you to stay in the situation just long enough for your panic to naturally come down. That exact moment is when your brain finally records the interaction as safe and the fear slowly goes extinct.
To do this, you build a highly personalized fear ladder. You rank actions by your own anxiety levels, from 0 to 10. Like, step 1 might just be making eye contact and smiling at a stranger, maybe a 2 out of 10 on your anxiety scale. Step 2 might be saying good morning as you walk by. You climb this ladder one rung at a time, and the golden rule here is incredible. You only move up to the next rung when the current one becomes completely and utterly boring. Seriously, boredom is the goal here.
Finally, let's hit section 5, mastering the opening. We're focusing on those crucial first 15 seconds. Before you even say a word, you must shift your attention outward. Remember, good conversation is about being interested, not being interesting. Drop all that immense pressure to be witty or impressive. Neuroimaging studies from Harvard show that when people talk about themselves, it activates the brain's reward circuitry, the exact same dopamine regions involved in pleasures like eating good food. So your only real job is to be genuinely curious and let the other person enjoy the dopamine hit of talking about themselves. Now, when it comes to actually speaking, there's no such thing as a perfect opening line, but there are reliable mechanics. Opener number 1 is the observation. This is the safest possible ground because you simply comment on the shared reality around both of you. The weather, the line you're both standing in, the music playing in the cafe. It requires zero assumptions about the other person and just gently opens the door for a response. Opener number 2 is the question. You just ask for low-stakes information or a tiny bit of help. Do you know if this seat is taken, or are there any good coffee spots around here? What's fascinating about this is a psychological phenomenon called the Ben Franklin effect. Asking someone for a very small, easy favor actually increases how much they like you, because their brain rationalizes, well, I'm helping them, so I must like them. Pretty awesome, right? Opener number 3 is the sincere compliment. But there is a very specific rule you have to follow here. You must praise a choice they made, not an accident of genetics. You don't compliment a physical feature. You compliment a killer jacket, an insightful question they asked in a meeting, or a fantastic pair of shoes. It shows you're paying attention to who they are and how they choose to present themselves to the world. And this leads us directly to your very first assignment, your day 1 field experiment. You're going to make one super low-stakes contact with a stranger where your only goal is to speak and survive. Order a coffee and simply add the sentence, busy today, to the barista. That is the whole shebang. You aren't trying to make a lifelong friend. You are running a trial, collecting your first successful data point, and proving to your nervous system that you spoke to a stranger and literally nothing bad happened. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on as we wrap up this explainer. If you were to draw up your own fear ladder today, which rung represents the true edge of your comfort right now? What is the absolute lowest possible social action that still makes your stomach tie up in a little knot? Identify that rung, because that is your starting line. The only question left is, when are you going to start climbing? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and good luck out there.